Hello and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News on this Friday, January 16th. I'm Grant Olson. Here's some of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. Vail Resorts, which owns Stevens Pass Ski Resort, is now providing prorated refunds for pass holders who were unable to visit the ski area from opening day to December 31st. Wenatchee police say they've cracked a December robbery in which a customer made off with the contents of a cash drawer from the Union 76 gas station. That's located at Ferry Street in South Mission. Expect another day of low clouds on Saturday with sunny and warmer weather by Sunday. Your full local weather forecast is coming up. Sheriff's deputies arrested a 39-year-old Ephrata man overnight for allegedly shooting another man early Thursday morning. Francisco Buenrostro faces a charge of first-degree assault in Grant County Court. Deputies say they were called about 1 a.m. Thursday to a rural road outside Ephrata for a report of a person shot. Buenrostro had allegedly fired once from a handgun and wounded a man who was a tenant on his property. He then allegedly fled before police arrived. Deputies surrounded the house for several hours before discovering he'd slipped away. Police caught up with Buenrostro last night in a traffic stop on Highway 281 near Quincy. He's now held in the Grant County Jail. Governor Bob Ferguson has appointed an assistant attorney general to a vacant judicial post in Grant County. Jennifer Richardson was named Superior Court Judge to replace former Judge Tyson Hill, whom Ferguson appointed to the Court of Appeals in November. Richardson is a 12-year veteran of the Attorney General's office. She currently supervises 4 attorneys and 2 paralegals representing state agencies in the Grant, Douglas, Chelan, and Okanagan County region. She earned her law degree from Syracuse University. Richardson's appointment became effective January 9th. At least 11,000 acres of land will become part of the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest after federal funding for the land acquisition was included in a spending bill passed by the U.S. Senate yesterday. U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell says the bill provides funding for 2 land purchases, one for $17 million and one for $5 million of privately owned parcels near Leavenworth. The funding is meant to enhance recreation and restore ecosystems to help make neighboring communities more wildfire resistant. Additionally, it will also help restore downstream fish habitat and protect habitats for threatened and endangered species. In 2020, Cantwell helped author the Great American Outdoors Act, which allocates $900 million to the Land and Water Conservation Fund to support protection of federal public land and waters. Stevens Pass Ski Resort has suffered from the unusually warm and wet winter. The December 10th windstorms and flooding cut off vehicle access to the resort via Highway 2, and snow conditions weren't right for opening until December 23rd. Vail Resorts, which owns Stevens, is now providing prorated refunds for pass holders who were unable to visit the ski area from opening day to December 31st. The refunds apply only to the dates affected by the road closure, not to weather conditions. Refund amounts will vary depending on the type of ticket that was purchased. In most cases, it will cover about 7% of the total ticket price. When we come back, the City of Chelan is inviting residents to its 2026 State of the City Town Hall next week. And this upcoming weekend will be 3 days for most people as the country commemorates the life and legacy of civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Raising a family may have seemed overwhelming to your parents, but they weren't. coach, teacher, life guide, caregiver. Family takes care of family. And as the circle of life continues, you now are their caregiver. It may seem overwhelming, but we're here to help you find the support services necessary so you can provide quality care to your elders.
Call Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington at 1-800-572-4459.
Wenatchee police say they've cracked a December robbery in which a customer made off with the contents of a cash drawer from the Union 76 gas station at Ferry Street and South Mission. On Wednesday, they arrested a 25-year-old Quincy man on suspicion of second-degree robbery. Investigators say they identified him as the unarmed suspect who held a store clerk at bay on December 8th and then seized more than $300 from an open register drawer. The suspect then drove away in a Honda SUV parked nearby. Police were able to connect the car to a registered owner in Quincy. Court records indicate the suspect may have been suffering a mental health crisis. He's yet to be charged, but is currently held in the Chelan County Regional Justice Center on $10,000 bail. The City of Chelan is inviting residents to its 2026 State of the City Town Hall next week. The free event offers the community an opportunity to hear about the city's strategic priorities and what's planned for the year. Residents will learn more about the city's key initiatives, long-term planning, and have conversations with city officials and community partners. Participating organizations include Chelan Fire and Rescue, Lake Chelan School District, North Central Washington Libraries, and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. The town hall will be held next Thursday at Campbell's Resort in the Centennial Ballroom or online via a live stream on the city's public meetings portal. The Chelan-Douglas Regional Port Authority has approved $105,000 in funding to support economic development initiatives across the region. At the port's directors meeting on Tuesday, Our Valley, Our Future, Douglas County, and the City of Wenatchee were awarded grants through the port's Partners in Economic Development program that supports nonprofit organizations and municipalities in their community and economic development initiatives. Our Valley, Our Future is in its third month of drafting its 5-year action plan for 2026 through 2031. Douglas County will use its grant award for the improvement project at US 2 and 97 and Cascade Avenue in Baker Flats. Wenatchee's grant award supports the Wenatchee Valley Industrial Symbiosis Plan. This upcoming weekend will be 3 days for most people as the country commemorates the life and legacy of civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. MLK Day is celebrated annually on the third Monday of January. The holiday will close schools and federal and municipal offices like city halls, post offices, banks, and public libraries. Martin Luther King will be honored tomorrow during the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center's Multicultural Fest, which is also meant to celebrate the Valley's cultural heritage. During the festival, the winners of the 2026 Uplift Awards will be announced and recognized for their social justice work. Coming up next, we will tell you about the longtime friendship between poet laureate Derek Sheffield of Leavenworth and Governor Bob Ferguson in tonight's feature story. Hang in there. These low clouds and fog should go away by Sunday with sunshine and warmer temperatures on the way. I'll have your local weather details coming up, followed by Eric Granstrom with all the day's sports action as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues after these messages.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Each legislative session, the governor's State of the State address makes room for a spiritual invocation and a reading from Washington's poet laureate. Derek Sheffield of Leavenworth currently holds that title, appointed last year by Governor Bob Ferguson. The two men are old friends, and Sheffield's poem at the State of the State on Tuesday was inspired by a hiking trip on the Olympic coast that their families took together in 2018. In tonight's feature story, Sheffield dedicated the work to his daughter Kelsey and Ferguson's daughter Katie.
What will keep us? Every pack-heavied step over sandhoppers and weed-slicked rocks, through driftwood scatters and the chill of tide waters, over wooded headlands as wildfires blaze north, south, east. Every step says, stay. I know mermaids aren't real, Kelsey says, but Daddy, look, holding a whip of bull kelp, whose light bulb face is a brown-green eye under ribbons of translucent hair. We trudge our miles, stepping over oscillating anemones in sunlit pools to pause at hole-in-the-wall and let their tentacles tongue our dipped fingers. And what's this holographic sheen? Not oil and not plastic we see, but a rainbow's iridescence beaming from a plant. Over teeth of barnacled rocks poking from pools of sand crabs and sculpin, through foamy maroons, emeralds, violets, tangles of surf grass and lettuce cushioning our steps, we hike. Flies parting briefly for our ankles as we take in the gleaming curve of the otter's tail as she rises and dives into clear shallows, a pliable needle threading us and them, water, land, and rippled sky, where the numberless legs of sandpipers twiddle their skittery flocks always just ahead. For even the reek slap of rot from a carcass too far gone for ravens or gulls, we hike. For our own place among the eaters and the eaten, pricking at us as we see how wide the jawbone, how long and curved the fangs. For the piping stutter of a crow-mobbed eagle landing on a shaggy bough, for the lightest touches of day mist on our skin and our headlamps in the night, lighting the tracks of slugs, silvering up every spruce trunk's loom. We hike for what will keep us if we keep it. On a bare stretch of sand ahead, a boulder splits into two bear cubs whose dark heads swivel our way before they turn as one toward the woods and lope out of sight, to go on in the multitudinous dream we need to be beyond our reach. Out past the breaking lines of waves we can just glimpse through binoculars, where the rounded humps of humpbacks slope one way and gray whales the other. 60-some otters floating on their backs have knit themselves into a living net. Weft, warp, leg, paw, kelp blades fixed by holdfasts to the deepest rocks. What is it they catch in their drift of sleep amid mists of rolling webs and stars? And what now as they ride day's swells in and out of sight in the rhythm of our own breathing? Our hike ends at the beginning of what the map calls Wedding Rocks, where people of the macaw long ago carved the round faces of sun and moon among fishers and fish, a whale, an orca. What feelings spilled through them as they knelt in these same unceasing sounds of waves, chip after chip falling away. We trace the grooves with our fingers, 5 centuries of wind, laced with the wet snorts and hunger cries of passing animals. Kelsey kneels over some new swirl of shell and exclaims. Katie says not a word, drawing with her stick something in the sand we can't yet see. Thank you.
Time now to take a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast, and I hope you had a great end to your work week on this Friday. Boy, again, we had to deal with that low cloud deck, and what a great shot. In fact, I'm just going to get out of the way. This is our Upper Butte camera at Lake Chelan, and it's looking at the Columbia River. This is the river under that cloud deck with Waterville up on this plateau, but this is what we were dealing with in the Wenatchee Valley and many locations throughout North Central Washington, and boy, it did keep our temperatures down for today, that's for sure. Unofficially today, we got to 34 is all, and that was only 4 degrees above our low temperature, which was 30 this morning. Our normal high, 33 degrees, our normal low temperature, 24 for this time of year, and our record high, 55 degrees. That was set in 1994. Once again, 2024, our record low year, and on today's date, 1 degree just a couple of years ago. Sunrise 7:43, and the sun set this afternoon at 4:39. All right, taking a look at what we can expect as we get you into the weekend. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to deal with these low clouds and this inversion for one more day. 37s in the Columbia Basin, Moses Lake, Ephrata, and Quincy. 35 is all with that low cloud deck, and Ellensburg, also into Wenatchee. I think Eniat, Cashmere, you'll catch a little bit of that. And then Leavenworth above the clouds. We'll get to almost 40 degrees tomorrow, and that goes for Chelan and also Omak as well at almost 40 for a Saturday high temperature. All right, as we get into tonight, we do expect low clouds, and this white is foggy conditions all over Washington state tonight, and that will be our scenario once again with low temperatures right around 30. And look at that cold air as it's dropping south all the way into South Texas. For Saturday, areas of fog once again. Also some of that low cloudiness because of this area of high pressure that just is keeping that inversion in place in central Washington. Highs tomorrow only in the mid-30s. And then good news, we're hoping anyway by Sunday, sunny and a little bit warmer. This cloud deck should erode away by Sunday with high temperatures with the sun jumping up into the low 40s, so it looks like a nice end to the upcoming weekend at least. For Monday, sunny skies will continue. That area of high pressure moves over into southern Idaho, and we'll just see some clouds around the Palouse area, also Spokane. Highs on Monday into the low 40s. For your Tuesday, high clouds once again, and just a wisp of high clouds that are connected to an area of low pressure in the plains. Really not a big factor for our weather. We're going to stay on the mild side on Tuesday with once again highs right around 40 degrees. For Wednesday, not much change. Sunny skies and mild as once again a larger area of high pressure builds in the Pacific. Highs on Wednesday of next week into the low 40s. And then by the end of our forecast next Thursday, we will see some clouds, just a tiny area of low pressure in southwest British Columbia. Will provide some clouds on Thursday, but that's about it. Our weather's going to stay quiet with high temperatures Thursday still into the low and mid 40s. All right, time for your 7-day forecast brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, where comfort, care, and community come together. Overnight tonight, a lot like this morning, 31 degrees, and then more of that low cloudiness and fog for Saturday, 35 our high. We are hoping that fog lifts and the clouds move away by Sunday. If it does, sunny skies and 42, and And that means sunny skies for Monday as well, with 41 our anticipated high temperature. And then not bad as we get you into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, a mix of clouds and sun with highs generally in the low 40s. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy finally Friday. Boston scored a goal in the first 54 seconds last night. Went on for a 4-2 win over Seattle in NHL play. Despite surrendering 2 early goals, the Kraken battled back to make it a game. John Forsland had the call on Kong TV.
Charlie McAvoy. As Boston changes, as do the Kraken.
Kraken delayed offside there. That's why Jordan Eberle pulled out of the zone.
Hustadinov, right in, he scores, just like that. 54 seconds in, Marat Hustadinov, and the Bruins break the ice. With an Aspero, and the Bruins are out to center ice. Here they come. Pavel Zacha, and the off wing pulls up, looks around, feeds it across. Arvidsson, off Middlestat, they score. It pinballs off Casey Middlestat, and the Bruins have a 2-0 lead.
That's all you're worried right now about for the Kraken.
The official word is Casey Middlestat. We'll see if they change it. Beniers caught by Swayman. Boston 18th on the kill. Stevenson will win the draw with help from Matty Beniers. Dunn slings it across. McCann tipped in. Chandler Stevenson. That's hockey, baby. What a play on the power play. And the Kraken cut the lead in half. The Kraken. Beniers pickpocketed. Kastelik scores! Mark Kastelik, who's killing penalties for the first time in his career this season, comes up with a shorty. Trying to return the favor, cut off by Zadorov. Nikita Zadorov pickpocketed by Freddie G. He'll get to it. Here's Myers with a shot. Stopped again by Swayman. And back out. The Kraken tag up. Here they come. McCann with a bee in his bonnet to the house. Caught by Swayman. Tolvanen. Kakko again. On the wall, Tolvanen, one-timer. Montour wide. Off the wall, Tolvanen. He scores! Now you see it, now you don't. It's a power play goal. Eli Tolvanen. And some jawing here after the fact. Marat Hustadinov to the slot. Pasternak. Corrali stopped by Decor. He'll scramble. Vince Dunn will rattle it deep in back of Swayman. Left in back of the goal. McAvoy gets to it. 18 seconds left. Pasternak with a yawning cage. He hits it. That'll do it. And the Kraken go to 1-2-1 through 4 of 5 straight on the road. Tonight, the Bruins defeat the Kraken 4-2.
Kraken will be finishing up that 5-game road trip. They'll be on the road in Utah tomorrow, 3 o'clock on Prime Video, Kong TV, as they'll wrap up that 5-game trip. Seahawks fans read some disturbing news yesterday. The quarterback Sam Darnold was listed as questionable for Saturday's playoff game. Well, Darnold said he felt something on his left side during a passing drill in practice yesterday. Good news is that he says he'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Feel good. Yeah, obviously, just in routes on air, just kind of felt a little something in my oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go for Saturday.
Seahawks and 49ers kick off at 5 o'clock on Fox Saturday. It is the second divisional playoff game in the NFL. Buffalo kicks off at Denver at 1:30. That'll be on CBS. Sunday's action begins at noon in New England, where the Patriots are hosting Houston on ABC and ESPN. Weekend wraps up in Chicago Sunday at 3:30 on NBC, with the Bears hosting the Rams. College football season comes to an end on Monday. Indiana will try to become the first team since the 1800s to finish an undefeated season with a national championship as the top-ranked Hoosiers take on number 10 Miami. Advantage for the Hurricanes. The game is happening in their backyard in Miami. Kickoff on ESPN Monday at 4:30. Well, Gonzaga cruised to a West Coast Conference win over Washington State last night in men's college basketball. The Bulldogs took down the Cougars 86-65. Eastern fell to Weber State 90-80. Eastern travels to Idaho tomorrow to face Idaho State at 3 o'clock. Washington hosts number 12 Michigan State at 3 on the Big Ten Network. Gonzaga faces Seattle University at Climate Pledge Arena tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That'll be on ESPN. On the women's college basketball courts last night, Eastern Washington beat Weber State 73-58. Gonzaga down San Francisco 82-69. Washington State edged St. Mary's in overtime 68-66. Gonzaga will host San Diego tomorrow at 2 o'clock, while Eastern hosts Idaho State. Washington State welcomes San Francisco tomorrow night at 6. Washington plays host to Minnesota Sunday at 3. That'll be on the Big Ten Network. Well, the Wenatchee Valley men and women are hosting Walla Walla tomorrow at Smith Gym. That'll be at 2 and 4 o'clock. Stop on by and meet the new WVS and WVCAD. Greg Sparling, if you have a moment. Big Bend is on the road tomorrow in the Tri-Cities to face CBC. Wenatchee hosted Moses Lake in prep wrestling last night. It began with the Mavericks girls taking down the Panthers 72-3. Other girls matches last night. Ephrata beat Selah 51-30, and Quincy quieted Ellensburg by a final of 66-12. The Moses Lake boys were also tough for Wenatchee, earning 9 pins and a 63-16 victory. Also last night it was Eastmont downing West Valley 48-32. Ellensburg edged Quincy 48-35. Selah stopped Ephrata 38-34. Cashmere beat Natchez Valley 63-15 and then swamped Wahluke by a final of 80-0. In other sports news, Moses Lake, Chelan, and Brewster picked up girls basketball wins last night. The Mavericks beat Cascade 35-29. The Goats topped Tenasket, and the Bears beat Waterville Mansfield 55-32. Coming up on the boys' courts, the boys' courts last night, Chelan took down Tenasket 64-28. Waterville Mansfield edged Garden City Academy by 1 point. Coming up for the girls tonight, Davis visits Moses Lake. Sunnyside hosts Eastmont. Quincy is at Selah, while Ephrata hosts Grandview. Cashmere hosts Connell. West Valley plays at Wenatchee. Manson's in Bridgeport. Okanagan hosts Lake Roosevelt. Pateros plays at Oroville. Antioch's on the road to Wilson Creek. Moses Lake Christian visits Welpinett. Waterville Mansfield travels to Lynn. Ritzville Sprague. The girls will play at 7:30 tonight. Shocker and Bronco boys teams actually start the night off in Ritzville at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock games have Davis at Moses Lake. Eastmont's at Sunnyside. Quincy visits Selah, and Ephrata hosts Grandview. Cashmere tips with Connell at 7:15. Wenatchee hosts West Valley at 7:30, while the Manson and Bridgeport. Lake Roosevelt visits Okanagan. Wilson Creek hosts Antioch, and Moses Lake Christian plays at Welpinett. What's happening this weekend? Well, the girls' schedule starts tomorrow at 1:30. Quincy's at Othello. Lake Roosevelt hosts Lakeside 9 Mile Falls at 2. Omak visits Liberty Bell at 2:30. Cascade is at Nooksack Valley at 2:45. Warden hosts Okanagan at 3:30. Brewster tips at Cashmere at 3:45. Waterville Mansfield hosts Soap Lake at 4. Wenatchee plays at Eastmont at 4:30. Of course, we'll have that on the NCW Life channel, and Manson hosts Tenasket at 6 o'clock. Saturday boys schedule pretty much the same as the girls, except for later start times. Add Royal and Chelan to that mix at 3 o'clock at Eastmont and Wenatchee boys at Eastmont High School, live on the NCW Life channel tomorrow at 6 p.m. Finally, the Wenatchee Wild would love you to come out to watch some hockey at the Town Toyota Center tonight and Sunday in Western Hockey League action. Wenatchee's hosting Portland tonight at 7 o'clock before traveling to Kamloops tomorrow night at 6. Wild will be back home Sunday to host Seattle at 4 o'clock. You can follow the action with Austin Droughty on 560 KPQ, 1340 The Hawk, or if you want to go to WenatcheeWildHockey.com and get some tickets. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a great weekend.
And that will do it for this Friday edition of the NCW Life Evening News. Remember, if you see news happening, let us know. Email your news tips to news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. Our channel is also available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and have a great weekend.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.